Alright. Does anyone want a lighter candle for us? Thank you, Retro. Oh my gosh, and I pulled out like the nubbiest little matchstick. It's like, I know you have a short temper, so we're giving you a short a short match today. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna... What do I want to light this candle for? What are we feeling? I think it's just gonna be a general calling in the light today. Clearing out the old energy, calling in the light. Quickly, before I burn my fingers. Okay. Got candle. The other card, or the other thing I have on here is, actually, I don't think I need the whole deck, I just have the card. This is Benefactor, Grace, and Generosity. It was a card that popped out for me yesterday. I ended up not coming, or not streaming. I was looking at other vending events, or I was doing some admin-y things, getting some vending applications put in for different things coming up this fall. But that was the card that popped out. I don't remember if it popped out while I was on a call with my mom, or... No. Did I talk to my mom yesterday? No, I think it just popped out as I felt kind of called to shuffle, and I've just kind of left it sitting there, but feels like it's coming into this space today, so we're gonna do... And it's a 3. Benefactor, Grace, and Jen. What else feels like we need to... Go get clean. But thanks. Ooh, we're bringing the Palo Santo out. So I don't use Palo Santo very much, to be honest. It looks like a little piece of wood. I've used it only twice now. Is that true? Yeah, I've used it only twice. I used it once when I did like a ritualistic bath back in December. It was really, I don't know, just I had it. It was gifted to me by a spiritual friend of mine, and yeah, I used it as like a ritualistic bath back in December when I was kind of like being reborn. Hey, Sesh Groove. And then I used it again. I'm Lady Lighthouse. And also, my real name is Cammy. I used this about a month ago. I used it to kind of like clear the energy of the space. Or like my home. And I hadn't done it before, but it was just like, it felt important because there was like a connection, or like a lingering connection that was needed to be cleared. And so, I don't know, this is feeling like it's coming into the space to kind of represent that that transformation. Not necessarily those transformations, but like the concept or idea of transformation, being reborn, kind of new beginnings. Also bringing forward my little mini... It's a candle holder that's got the Tree of Life on it, but then I also have just a regular little quartz crystal ball. Bless you, Echo. Bless you. Okay, she's all better. But yeah, I like keeping the little crystal ball in my black candle holder with the Tree of Life. So I feel like that's coming in. And this kind of feels... It's very much just giving me like a future, like see into the future vibes. What else? Other thing that's kind of coming forward and my eyes are going to is my manifestation corner or quarter. If you've lurked before, or if this is your first time, welcome. Welcome, Lady Lighthouse. Or your local shaman, Lady Lighthouse. This is a quarter that, again, if you've been here before, you've heard the story. If you haven't been here, then the short version is, I tried manifesting a quarter 8 or so months ago, came to me in a dream, and my team was basically like, dream bigger. And then a couple months ago, I was eating some chocolate, and I took a bite of it, and it was like in one of those like wrappers. And I took a bite of it, and there was no chocolate, or like there was no quarter in there. Put the chocolate bar down, came back to the chocolate bar 30 seconds later, because it was just like right there on the side, like the side of the couch, and there was suddenly this quarter in the wrapper. And let me tell you, there was no place for that quarter to have come into the chocolate bar. I don't store my chocolate in the same place as my money. And so this was just kind of like my ongoing symbolism for like manifestation, or like manifestations coming into the 3D. Thank you for the subscription, Sesh Groove. Woohoo! The quarter is working. But yeah, that's kind of a quarter, or like that's representing like manifestations coming into reality. And then trying to see where else are my eyes being drawn. What do I want to bring forward? Let me go grab a couple things off my shelf. Other thing that's coming forward is my little rose quartz toothless. The rose quartz is all about love and coming back to self. At least that's what it's meant for me. And then, oh man, are we bringing that into this? Okay. So, where do I want to start? Okay. Okay. Hold on. I need a few breaths here for a second. Yeah, so the toothless, I'll do a minor trigger warning. I'm not gonna go into details, but I will do a trigger warning for anyone. So please leave if you think you might get triggered or alarmed. But like I said, I'm not gonna go into a ton of details, but I think the reason this is coming forward, this little like toothless creature or like toothless figurine, is because back in college, my freshman year of college, I was sexually assaulted, and the movie that was playing in the background was How to Train Your Dragon. And I fucking loved that movie up until that point, and then I couldn't watch that movie for like 6 or 7 years. But the new like live action remake just came out, and I just saw it this past weekend, and I know that like that's been you go through layers of like healing from sexual assault trauma, and like each time you kind of come back to something new. And mine has been coming up in the last couple of days again, of just kind of like, I guess, uncovering what might be still lingering there. Because, like I said, the How to Train Your Dragon movie, I went and saw it, and it was good. I was glad I saw it, because I remember I did rewatch that movie on Netflix a couple years ago, by myself, to like reclaim the movie as my own, because like I said, I freaking love that movie, and I was so upset that that movie got kind of a bad memory associated with it. And when I watched it by myself a few years ago, you know, I bawled my eyes out, and at no particular point, it was just I was bawling my eyes out as I was like reclaiming seeing the movie, and like loving myself through it. And then when I went and saw it this weekend with my husband in theaters, it was good. It was just like, I wasn't as emotional. I mean, I still probably like got emotional with the movie, but there's like a reclamation, or like there's another layer of like reclamation happening for me right now. It feels like, as it comes to that, because even last night I've been going in like West Coast swing dancing and taking lessons, and then go to social dances, and so last night was a lesson night, and there was a person there that showed up it was the first time I saw them come to the lesson, but they had the same name as the person who assaulted me, and I was like, it's okay. Not all people with the same name are bad people. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm fine. I'm safe. This is good. Like, we're having a good time. Like, this is fine. I feel you're welcome. I feel somewhat emotional in this moment and sharing this. Hold on. I'm gonna mute myself for just a second. thank you all for seeing me. I did not plan to bring that into the space today. But thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Yeah. I said this altar just kind of feels like a reclamation, and it feels like one of the messages that I've kind of been feeling too as it relates to, you know, my story and that being a catalyst, because I was my assault was definitely a catalyst to a lot of health problems. Like I had some health problems growing up. Like I had I got Lyme's disease when I was 13, and basically from then on I was sick a lot. But part of that, I don't think all of that was necessarily like Lyme's disease. I think Lyme's disease was a catalyst, and that taught me how much like love and care I could get from my family and my parents if I was sick. And so I think I do think I did get sick a lot, but I also think some of it was my body craving love and connection in a way, and so it ended up me being sick a lot because when I was sick, I got a lot of nurturing love from my parents and from those around me. Um, so that was like 13 was a catalyst, and then whenever, again, my assault happened when I was 18. Yeah, I was 18, and then that kind of kickstarted. With that happening and being in college and being in engineering school and taking here in the US, and it was like 17 to 19 credit hours, like a semester, and kind of supporting myself through college. I definitely had a lot of health issues, and that kickstarted a lot of like my pelvic floor issues with lots of like cysts, and I got diagnosed with endometriosis, and I ended up having several surgeries and PCOS, and I had several surgeries throughout college. But one of the things that's kind of like been coming up in as I've been reflecting on this quarter and manifestation is just like that whatever I've been holding on to, or whatever's kind of like lingering that I've been holding on to as it relates to that like catalyst event, has been what's kind of like holding me back from being able to manifest fully. Felt good just to say that out loud, to be honest. I'm just taking a breath there. This feels just really good. This feels like it almost feels like this side is sort of past, present, future. It's like this gives future, this gives looking towards the future. This is like a cleansing, a transformation, new beginnings. And these kind of feel like what's lingering in the past, but also like giving love and that like manifestation coming. Damn. It was Thank you, Max. Mm. The funny thing is like I've known for a very long time, to be honest. It was like pretty closely after I had like within a month or two of kind of going through my catalyst event. I'll call it a catalyst event. I like that better. Anyway, but when I had that catalyst event in college, I was still sort of going to church at that time, and I remember there was one message that was basically like where they invited you to like tune in and ask, you know, in prayer, you know, what your purpose is. And I remember hearing at that time, it was like the message was, you are meant to hurt so others don't have to. And while that message sounds really glim or bleak, like that message kept me going for a really long time. That you are meant to hurt so others don't have to. And to be honest, that's how I found my I mean, that's what ultimately led me here, but it was just like that helped me see, even though it like upset me when I first heard it, it gave me like a purpose or a mission and belief that, you know, whatever I was experiencing or whatever I would come to experience and go through, it was serving a purpose, and that I like was meant to help others in some capacity with what I've learned and what I've gone through and experienced. It's good. It's a few months ago it came up again, and so I think we're kind of releasing that story of like I that was the story that got me here, was, you know, and that was the purpose and mission that got me here, which was the whole, you know, you hurt so others don't have to, like your pain serves a purpose. And I think it kind of coming up right now in this space too is a good reminder for myself and others, but for myself, that it's time to let that go. Time to let that story go. It's time to let that purpose go. It's time to let that message go, that I no longer need to hurt to help others. My time of hurting or my time of being in suffering is done. I'm not saying I won't have pain again. Like pain is just a fact of life. It will happen. But I don't need to keep telling myself or stay in the state of that I need to hurt. I don't need to hurt anymore. I've hurt enough, damn it. I've suffered enough. uh, yeah. Thank you, Matt. Just holding my hands back over here, but I'm basically just kind of holding them out here and kind of directing my energy towards the light, towards the flame. That I'm grateful for you all seeing me and hearing me and listening, even if I'm just in the background while you're doing something else, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for your time. Really grateful. And thank you for lurking, if you're lurking. Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting moment for me to both feel very I feel equally really vulnerable, to be honest. And also really like teachery. Like I feel both like the both and. I feel both the inner child healing and like wanting to nourish and love her, but also feeling the like woman within kind of coming forward too and wanting to just like, you know, interact and share. And it's a fascinating experience of like the both and showing up. A lot of my a lot of my healing has been behind closed doors. Like a lot of my healing has been me in my dance studio moving, or me meditating, or me in the night dreaming, or me doing like energy work on myself. And sometimes posting things on social media, but not a ton. Well, yes and no. I used to have a different Instagram account that I would post like some of my movement stuff and like kind of what I was learning, and I ended up just like deleting that. Ooh, a left ringing in my ear coming in. I should say a ringing in my left ear, not a left ringing. But yeah, like I said, a lot of the healing had been really private, which is okay. Like I don't judge that. I think it's okay. That is what felt right for me. But it's a really interesting experience to have just cried on stream, you know? But also have like sort of cried in community. Like I've done a few like women's retreats, and I've had a lot of healing at those as well. Different kinds of large and small. And those have been so good. So nourishing. It is funny too. I'm thinking like as I'm sitting here too, I'm like whenever my husband and I kind of came back together at the beginning of this year, we had said like, oh, if we're gonna, well, I had already had been feeling like stuff about our relationship would be like coming forward and being used to help others. Because trust me, we're definitely not we're definitely not perfect. We've definitely worked through a lot of shit. And we will probably continue to work through things, and that's okay. But I could feel at the beginning of this year that a lot of what we've gone through and overcome and the struggles that we've faced will like come into a teaching space and come into a place of helping and healing for others. And one of the thoughts that I was just having was like whenever we came back together, he's like, yeah, you can do that, like that's fine, but like just like wait 6 months. It's like it was too raw at that point. And I don't know if today is exactly 6 months from that, but I was just doing the math in my head that I think we're really close if it's not. I think I put it in note. Oh, actually, it was July 13th would have been the 6 month mark. So 3 days passed. Yeah. Cool. Cause yeah, let me tell you. Me having that like where do I even want to keep going down this road? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if you all want to keep listening, I welcome the listen. But where I was going with that was the so our relationship has taken many different forms. We met in high school, and we started dating our senior year. We went to college sort of together. I mean, we went to the same college, and it was in the spring of my freshman year that I broke up with him, and when I was single, that was during the period of time that I had the catalyst event happen. And then my husband and I came back together that later that summer, around the time that I needed to have my first surgery. And then we had different styles of relationship for many years. We tried different things in our relationship. Or I should say, like, different relationship or connection styles. And then we got engaged right after the day we graduated from undergrad. Got married a year later. But all through that time, and like all through those like first several years of marriage, it was like my trust with men was pretty damaged. It was pretty damaged, and even when we got married, I remember we got married during COVID, and so even when we got married, I remember being in shock for like several months afterwards, because my parents are divorced, his parents are divorced, and so we already have like a bunch of divorce in the families, and even one of my brothers was like, you all won't last more than 5 years. And so it was just like, we got married and I was like, I can't believe we did that. I did that. And then those next 4-ish years, 3-ish years was like we got married, and I guess the safety of the legal paperwork that was marriage allowed, like, freed up space for me to be able to like think into healing. And also I was out of school at that point, so it was, and like working full time, so I was able to like actually focus on taking care of my health and taking care of who I was. And so I went on like a pretty deep healing journey, took a ton of different courses and classes. Him and I were like, for the people that get married and they're like, that first year is a honeymoon and great, like, I am happy for you if that is the life you had or the experience you had. I did not have that experience. Our first few years was rough. Was really rough. Yeah, we argued a lot. I had lots of like trying to overcome like a sexual trauma. It was like that aspect of like sex, or that aspect of our relationship was always been a sticking point or an issue. Or it had always been. We're good now. But we figured it out. We worked through the shit we needed to work through. But like for many years, it was tumultuous. Always a point of contention. Where am I going with this? I don't know, that brings me to like the end of last year. We were working through a lot of different things. I was tuning into my intuition, getting things. And there's so many points in time to call out that could be helpful for others. But I'm just like, that's just too many to just like choose from at this moment. That just kind of gets called into the space when it gets called into space. So I'll just say, those first few years of marriage were not sunshines and rainbows. Though we kept choosing each other and we kept trying our damnedest to make it work. But then at the end of last year, I felt it coming that, or like I was like afraid that he was gonna die. I kept feeling like he was gonna die, or something about that. Then I eventually realized that the feeling of him dying was actually the death of the relationship and not necessarily him physically dying, because I have a boundary around predicting death. But I didn't know it at that time. But once I figured it out, that was a feeling of that version of our relationship and who we had been was dying. Like, I didn't make a plan. So I know many people, and I know even my mom was like, you should have made a plan and like figured out what you were gonna do, and I did not. I was like, as soon as I knew that I needed to leave, or like that was my next step for myself, like I wrote a letter, I read him the letter, and I was gone within like 24 hours. Like, it was, yeah. It was quick. It was not well thought out, but it worked out, because that, I ended up being gone for 30 days, and I should mind you that that was definitely a risk. It was definitely the most painful period of my life. I believe it was also probably one of the most painful moments, if not the most painful moment of my husband's life, or period of time. And like, it was just, I mean, it was deeply painful. It was deeply healing. It was deeply growing, deeply transformative, but it was deeply, deeply painful, and I do not recommend it. If you can avoid it. If you can avoid it, I do not recommend it. He does not recommend it. I think he's not one to cry. I've only seen him cry. I think I've only seen him cry one time in our 10 plus year relationship, and he told me that when I left was one of the periods of time, like that was probably the first time he had cried in several years. So, you know, we don't recommend that route if you can avoid it. The good news for us was that we were able to reconcile, we were able to come back together, we were able to do a ton of self-reflection, and the previous version of our relationship did ultimately die. Our relationship now is completely different than it was the first 10 years. And that's one of the reasons why on our wedding anniversary this year, we ended up renewing our vows and doing a little something like extra special, and we ended up like framing our vows too, because it's just like, we learned that like love is a choice, or the person that you're with is a choice. And like you can love someone and stop choosing them. That doesn't mean you stop loving them. It just means that you might step away. 'Cause like that was, I knew I loved him. I knew I loved him a lot, but I felt like I needed to leave. And so I am grateful for all the different things that I did learn, and I am ultimately grateful I left. Because I am a stubborn hoe at times, and so I do think that I was not picking up the message any other way, Uh, and so it was unfortunate for both of us, especially like the pain I caused him in that that's how I had to learn my lesson, or the lessons that I'm, now feeling ready to share more of. But it was, I mean, it's a part of our journey. It's a part of how we've grown stronger in our connection. Um, yeah, thank you for sharing that, Max. I'm glad you all were able to take that time apart and come back together, because that was the thing too, is whenever we were healing, whenever we were growing, and I was feeling like I needed some space to figure something out, and I just like whatever I was doing wasn't enough. Like I tried, I would go on different women's retreats. I would go. I don't remember if I tried sleeping in the other room, like, because we have a guest bedroom or not. But I would definitely try going on like little girls' weekends or something, just to like get space. And I think what I ultimately needed was truly, deeply just me. Like I needed to be in my own energy, my own space for some amount of time. And to be honest, like I figured out me leaving, by the end of a week of me leaving, I had my like really big Kundalini awakening, spoke to spirit or source for the first time, or God, whoever you want to call him, for the first time, and was like totally convinced there, totally like I knew what role I had played in the relationship, and all of and like what viewpoints I was holding. I was like holding me back. It was just like it took me a week, roughly a week, to get that all sorted, and then it took me the remaining 3 weeks to slowly try to rebuild the trust that I had broken. For us to be able to come back together, and for him to allow me to move home, basically, because I had moved out and was staying at a family member's house who was out of town, so I had space to myself, but yeah. So if there's anyone else listening that feels like, you know, you want to leave, try just taking a solo trip for a weekend, and if that's not enough, try a solo trip for 1 week. 1 week. Try 1 week. If that solo trip for 1 week where you don't get to talk to them doesn't bring to light anything, or doesn't help you see where you need to go in that relationship, well, it will definitely give you insights on what you're needing. But it's got to be a week of like minimal to no contact with whoever that is you're struggling with. Hey, DFX. Yeah, we're just kind of chatting today, doing some combos. I don't know if I'm gonna do offerings. I wasn't feeling resourced enough to do offerings. Kind of sharing some of my story with the nice little altar. Yeah, That's I think that would be really. Oh, yeah. My dad used to always say to me, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back, it's meant to be. And to be honest, that was the second time I had left my husband, because the first was our like breakup in when we were just dating. But I also always have felt, at least what's felt true to me, is the adage of like third time's a charm, or like good things come in threes, or I don't know, like 3 has been a powerful number. And so I always felt like, and there's a 3 right here, and I always kind of felt like, maybe not always, but after that separation happened, or after I left last year, and I got the clarity I needed, I was like, oh no. It wasn't that I was afraid that he was gonna die, it was just like, I knew that version of our relationship needed to die, but I know like who he's going to become, or I had a sense of who he would become, and it was like, we just had to work through the dirt, the grit, all of the crap that we weren't facing to get here. He is a Scorpio. But now this one feels complete. Like this one feels like I could never say up until we came back together this time, I was never able to be like, oh, I promise you the future, like forever. Like anytime anyone spoke about, you know, those really big romantic, I'll love you forever adages, I was like, what? Like I was unable to connect with that. And so that was something I had to work through too, is like this feeling about forever, or what that meant to me, or what I'm able to, or if I felt like that would be true now. And with this particular relationship, or like with our relationship now, with having us come back together, I do feel comfortable like saying to him and anyone that I was like, no, like I will love him forever. Like this is a forever kind of love. And it feels kind of cool to say that. 6 months ago I would have been freaking the fuck out. But I'm like, no, like it feels like that feels exciting to say now, whereas all of the years leading up to now, I was like, this is, ugh. Like, I can't promise that. You don't know that. Okay. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Kinda. Very cool. I stay aware of astrology, but it's not my strong point. It's like I kind of dabble in a bunch of different things where I'm like, I'm aware enough to be like, okay, I have a rough idea of what's going on. But I really to be honest, I really, when it comes to like partnerships and what zodiac sign or things are happening, I really only care about what's happening for me. I'm like, I'm a Cancer. I just had my birthday like a week and a half ago. So I'm like, all right, what's in the forecast for me? Cool. And my husband's a Scorpio, and so I'm like, and I know I get along. I connect really well with Scorpios, and I connect a lot with other Cancers, with all of our deep emotions. So that's about my level of astrology. And then there's some stuff with the planets. I've looked into some stuff with human design and in my chart as well, and I poked around at that as I was healing and growing to kind of like help me understand myself a little, but thanks. I have enough information about all of these other areas that it's just kind of like I can point people in a direction of like, ah, you might benefit from looking at this, or oh, you might benefit from looking at this, but I might not be the explicit person to teach you. I just am the little like funnel to be like, here you go. This is probably, go check this out. Go check this out. What an emotional time. This is good though. This has been really, you know, cathartic and also really lovely to just come on here and chat and share a little bit of my story and share this altar. And I'm not saying I'm done, it's just been nice. This has been nice. I liked this like this little offering. Or like this little like this interaction, sharing, connecting. Welcome Denny Lurkers. Your local Shaman Lady Lighthouse. We're just being authentic and vulnerable and speaking from the heart. Happy Mercury Day, Zarya. Glad to see you back. Ooh, yay. Stretches sound kind of good, to be honest. I think I'll probably have to stretch after the stream. I was like, I could stretch right now, but I'm not not quite wearing the clothes I would like to stretch in. You might get more of a show than you bargained for. Slash, I'm not quite prepared to give that much of a show. But I'm glad. I'm glad the weather's so good for you. Yeah, I'm feeling like, to be honest, I feel like I kind of want to like meditate or like lay down and get some Reiki or do some Reiki on myself and meditate, but I want to leave this altar up. So I think I'm going to leave the altar up and leave up the music. I'm gonna lay down for a little bit and just off to the side. I probably won't Um, probably change this to be emote only, so that way I won't be able to monitor it, but yeah. Thank you. Thank all of you for your time, and for, like I said, and Max, thank you for chatting with me. Zarya, Retro, and everyone else who's kind of popped in, but thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for honoring me. Thank you for respecting me. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And I'll be